Mickey Rooney was one of the most esteemed actors of all time. He appeared in over 300 films, was the top box office draw from 1939 to 41, and was one of the best paid actors of his time. Between the ages of 15 and 25, he starred in 43 films. He not only had one of the most prolific acting careers in Hollywood, but he also had a wild life. He had dozens of affairs with some of the most famous women of his day, had one heck of a drinking problem, and ended up owing a lot of people money due to his rampant gambling addiction. He was married 8 times, with 6 of these ending in divorce. But that shouldn't come as that big of a surprise, considering his reputation as an unapologetic womanizer. He lived fast, partied hard, and didn't seem to care about the consequences. Join FactsVerse as we take a look at almost every woman, that we know of at least, that Mickey Rooney hooked up with before his death at age 93 in 2014. Ava Gardner. This legendary actress was the first of Rooney's 8 wives. She was tall, beautiful, and a gifted performer. Rooney would often date women like her to compensate for his short stature. Standing at 5'2", he was always very insecure about his diminutive size. Reflecting on her ex-husband's numerous marriages, Gardner once quipped there ought to be a, quote, Mickey Rooney former wives marching band. Ava was a 19-year-old up-and-coming starlet when she met Rooney. As soon as Mickey laid eyes on her, he started pursuing her ceaselessly. Eventually, Gardner gave in, only to regret it almost immediately. The two got married in 1942. Just a month after coming home from their honeymoon, Rooney cheated on her with another woman. To add insult to injury, Mickey even hooked up with that girl in his and Gardner's own bed while Ava was hospitalized recovering from appendicitis. Rooney's infidelity was a recurring theme throughout his life. At one point, a momentarily remorseful Mickey purchased Gardner an enormous diamond to make things right. But a little over a week later, he asked her to give it back so he could pay off some gambling debts. Not only was he a problem gambler, he'd also frequent Hollywood brothels. While Hollywood execs were well aware of his philandering ways, they did everything in their power to prevent the knowledge of his cheating ways becoming a matter of public knowledge. Rooney was, after all, one of their most valuable assets. In 1943, Gardner finally decided enough was enough and kicked Mickey out of their house. Reportedly, he'd been boasting to his buddies about his various mistresses while Gardner was in the same room. Immediately after ditching Rooney, Ava received a visit from MGM fixer Eddie Mannix, whose job it was to keep the details of the studio stars' private lives from showing up in the gossip rags. He explained explicitly to Gardner that if she were to go public with her husband's behavior, her Hollywood career would essentially be over. To keep her quiet, MGM gave Gardner's career a boost by hooking her up with lucrative roles in big-budget films. Betty Jane Baker. After divorcing Gardner, Rooney met a young singer named Betty Jane Phillips while he was stationed in the military in Alabama. Phillips hailed from Birmingham and was 17 years old when she won the Miss Alabama pageant. From there, she went on to represent her home state in the Miss America competition. The year she competed, 1944, was the same year she met Rooney. After a brief courtship, the two got married and had 2 children, Tim and Mickey Rooney Jr. According to the biography The Life and Times of Mickey Rooney by William Burns and Richard Lurtzman, Betty Jane and Mickey's marriage unraveled shortly after she walked into her husband's dressing room to find him in a compromising position with actress Elizabeth Taylor, who was only 14 at the time. Needless to say, the couple finalized their divorce in 1949. Before we tell you more about Rooney's other wives, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. Martha Vickers. This actress, whom Rooney married the same year he divorced Betty Jane, got her start as a model and cover girl. She was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan on May 28, 1925. When she was 15, her family relocated to Hollywood after her father, who previously worked as a used car dealer, assumed control of a modeling agency in Burbank. Her first film was 1943's Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. She went on to appear in a handful of films with RKO, Universal, and Warner Brothers. Some of her most notable were in films like The Big Sleep, The Time, the Place, and the Girl, and That Way with Women, all of which hit theaters in the 40s. By the 50s, however, her movie career had stalled. She later appeared in a number of TV shows, including a 1959 guest-starring bit on Perry Mason, but her career never really recovered. Her final performance was in 1960's The Rebel. Vickers was married to Mickey Rooney from 1949 to 51 and had one son with him, but their marriage fell apart when she learned of his infidelity. Sadly, she died at a young age of 46, succumbing to esophageal cancer in 1971. Elaine Mahnken. At age 35, Rooney married his fourth wife, actress Elaine DeVry. The two got hitched in 1952. 6 years later, DeVry filed for divorce, citing Mickey's infidelity and gambling problem as the primary reasons their marriage failed. She appeared in several films throughout her career, including A Guide for the Married Man in 1967. She also made several appearances in popular shows like Perry Mason, Bonanza, Marcus Welby, MD, and My Three Sons. At age 92, DeVry is enjoying her retirement at her ranch home in Oregon. Barbara Ann Thomason. This model and actress married Rooney in 1958. The couple had 4 children. Tragically, she was brutally murdered in 1966 by a Yugoslavian Hollywood actor and stuntman named Milos, who shot her before turning the gun on himself. After learning her husband had been having an affair behind her back, Thomason decided she might as well have one herself. Thomason and Milos started having their affair while Rooney was traveling for work. Law enforcement theorized he killed her after Thomason told him she wanted to end things. Marge Lane. Lane was Barbara Thomason's best friend. She and Rooney tied the knot just months after Thomason had been murdered, but their marriage was Rooney's shortest, only 100 days. When talking about his 6th wife, Rooney once reportedly said, "Marge, I think that was her name." Carolyn Hockett. Rooney married Hockett at a Las Vegas chapel in 1969 when she was 25 and he was 48. They had a child in 1970, and Rooney adopted one of Hockett's sons from a previous marriage named Jimmy. The marriage ended in divorce in 1975. Jan Chamberlain. Rooney's 8th and final marriage was to singer Jan Chamberlain. They exchanged vows in 1978 and remained married until Mickey's death in 2014. Their relationship hit a rough patch in 2011 after Rooney accused her son of elder abuse. They separated in May of 2013 and were apparently estranged when Mickey passed. Regardless, Chamberlain proved to be the woman whom Rooney was married to the longest. Now it's time to hear from you. Which one of these stories was the most surprising to hear about? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.